Susaq, Minnesota. I reserve my right to yield my remaining time to my summation.
That is your right.
Medicaid mandates that adults with disabilities have services provided up until the age of 20. After that, it is up to each state to decide how the federally mandated Medicaid is implemented. I propose that the federal government mandates therapies for the entire life of an individual with disabilities. It is estimated that there is 14 million adults with disabilities under the age of 65 in the U.S. alone. People don't just stop learning at the magic age of 20. For example, a woman who has autism. She has been taking speech therapy for years now, and she hits the age of 20, and now she can't afford it. She is still trying to figure out how to put sentences together, and now because the state won't provide it, now she can't get jobs, she gets made fun of, all because these aren't provided for her. I'm just wanting the government to help others have the chance to live a full life. The mark of society is how it treats the lowest among us. Not only is this a quality of life issue, but being able to communicate is a human right. I yield my time to my summation.
Thank you, Delegate. You have yielded 45 seconds. There's also an amendment attached to this proposal. Strike entire line 22 and 23. No funding being used. We are now in line for 2 minutes of non-debatable technical questions. Colorado, New Jersey, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Kentucky, and Massachusetts.
The top part from the blazing state of Colorado. How many states currently have this lifelong mandate?
It's there's none of them. It's all up to the state individually. Oh, I see what you're saying. I am not quite sure on that one.
Thank you.
Kelly Joyce, New Jersey delegation. Thank you, Madam Chair. Will this cover only mental disabilities or physical disabilities as well?
It will cover both.
Bergen Holtz from Oklahoma. How much will these civilizative services cost for an average person during, like, an average lifetime?
If this proposal would be implemented, it would be decided by the legislature.
Thank you.
Maria Mara, New Mexico. Would this apply to disabilities of any severity or only very extreme disabilities?
Disability is defined as a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more life activities.
Whitney Cox, representing Kentucky, Madam Chair. What specific disabilities would this tend to?
Any of the ones that just go to what I defined.
McDonald, Rorty, and Brown. Quickly.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Goldfeld, Arizona. What would happen to states who do not comply with this mandate?
That would be up to the legislature on how they would want to handle that.
William Brown, Wisconsin delegation. Where will the funding for this come from? You state that it will not come from anywhere, but this will cost money.
It would be administered by the Health and Human Services.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Peter Brody from the Delaware delegation. What's the average life expectancy for an adult with disabilities?
It depends on the disability.
Thank you, delegates. The time for technical questions has now elapsed, and we'll move into con-pro debate. A con speaker. Chair recognizes Clement.
Justin Cohen, Michigan delegation. I reserve my right to use the remainder of my time to delegate.
That is your right.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to point out that the amendment states that that there would be no funding from any other programs, and it would just come out of the normal healthcare budget as it is right now. That would mean that we would have to take away from other healthcare programs that are already in existence. So that would mean that it would be less money for people who need surgeries for different things like that. And not to mention that as a possible states' rights issue that we would be demanding such things. And I yield the remainder of my time to the delegate.
You have yielded 55 seconds.
Thank you very much. David Cluster from Republic of Texas. Similar to what the previous delegate said, I'd like to read one of my favorite quotes of all time from Amendment 10 of the United States Constitution. The powers not delegated to the United States by the U.S. Constitution, nor prohibited by the states, are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. In order to mandate a state budget and how they use their funds, you must have a constitutional amendment. There is no federal precedent to do so. And this is a massive amount of money. First of all, there's no source. I guess the Department of Health and Human Services. We don't even know where that money is going to come from. And if the states are mandating it because this is a state program, why is there federal funding? Where is the federal funding going to come from? And all this just doesn't make sense. And on the basis of the proposal, with all due respect to everyone in here, life is not fair. It's not the government's job to make it so fair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Delegate. We are now in order for a pro speaker. Chair recognizes Sahu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sahu, Minnesota. I'd like to reserve the right to yield the remaining of my time to the Missouri delegate here. I'd just like to point out that this is a proposal, not a bill, so let's not get too tedious on the funding of this. Secondly, if this were to pass, this is a proposal, so the legislator could allocate the necessary funds. We could find it in the budget. Secondly, it may not be. Life may suck, but it's our job to help make it better for the people that can't do it themselves. So I'm strictly looking at the intent of this proposal. I'm not looking into the logistics because that is what a proposal is, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let me remind you that again. Please, I yield my time to the delegate here.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Hannah Hightower from Missouri State Delegation. Personally, I lifeguarded a center for mentally and physically handicapped adults during the week and have seen firsthand the neglect that these humans and citizens of America are subjected to due to lack of care. Furthermore, on the weekends, I teach children on the autistic spectrum how to swim and also provide aquatherapy. Recognizing that I have the best interests of these children in mind, their parents have expressed their concerns regarding the lack of care their children will face once they turn 21 due to the lack of provisions that America supplies. Due to specialized professionals teaching things like musical therapy and aquatherapy to deal with children with disabilities who turn into adults with disabilities, it is an expensive program that people cannot afford. I urge all of you to pass this proposal on and protect all of our fellow citizens who are currently being treated like second-hand citizens due to disabilities.
Thank you, Delegate. Your time has elapsed. We'll now have a common speaker on this proposal, and amendments are in order. Chair recognizes Freeman.
Thank you, Chair. I am Matthew Foon from the California delegation, and I reserve my right to yield my remaining time to my co-delegate from California. To address the previous speaker's claim that funding should be an issue, of course funding is an issue. If funding wasn't an issue, obviously our government would try to help mentally disabled people and physically disabled people, but funding is an issue, and that is the critical thing we have to consider with this proposal, so I urge you to not support it. And I yield my remaining time to Delegate Maher.
You've yielded 1 minute and 4 seconds.
Thank you. I'm Ryan Maher from the California delegation. I don't believe this is a federal issue. If states are willing to provide service for mentally disabled adults, then let them go ahead. If communities want to provide for these adults, then power to them. In my county, there are tons of support programs for the disabled. There are community homes everywhere, and all of the people there seem very happy and they have access to therapy. I applaud the intent of your proposal, but it is not executed correctly. With the effort of communities, we can provide for these disabled citizens throughout the United States. If we all work in our individual communities towards one common goal, we can work wonders, and we can get the intent of this proposal fulfilled. Thank you. I yield my time to the chair.
Thank you, Delegate. We're now in line for our final pro speaker. Chair recognizes Martino.